So when we had all these stories to start with, we went, oh my God, we have to bite off something we can chew. Let's just pull a few sweet ones from it, Dad. Come on. And so he started bringing us stories. Do you mind, Mom? I'm sorry, I interrupted. I have my lei now. I have the talking stick, the talking flower. And so anyway, he started bringing us stories, and we would all read them together at the table, and we'd say, oh yeah, or almost, or that's definitely for the next book. And so that was kind of the process, and we thought we were probably going to have a little introductory book of maybe 28 or 30 stories. Well, we kept adding more, and then at one point, I think Zen, my son, said, oh, just go with 42, you know, it's the answer to the universe. And we were like, oh, well, okay. and that's when we were up at about 36 or 38, and we were like, oh no, we have so many stories now. So we decided to, okay, we'll just stop at 42.
It was nice to have it cut off, you know.
Yeah. Okay, back to you.
Again, she's always a hard act to follow. Here.
You can give it a try.
Oh. Well, this absolutely could not have happened with our beautiful, wonderful, oh, I'm going to get tearful, matriarch of this incredible family. That I am so privileged to be a part of and offspring to, and hopefully carrying on the tradition. And we were fortunate to have this beautiful place, this home, Diana's generosity, to land in after Jimbo's heart attack and stroke, and then stay here after the county wouldn't let us move back to our home. And so it was like, well, we thought this was temporary, but do you mind if we stay a little longer?
That was never a discussion.
It was never a discussion, but that's how we were kind of thinking inside. So then we were really motivated to, what can we do to really pull our weight here? So we started really working the land and reviving the farm, and couldn't have done that without Roy. Roy, even though he... Yeah, thank God. Roy is just a solid support here, regardless of where he lives. Thank God for Roy. Thank you, Roy. And so anyway, we proceeded to build those terraces out in the back, go out and look. That's where our garden is. And then in preparation for this event, we thought I came back from the mainland to help put on this event, and I wanted to rent some place so that, you know, something we could just pull off in 2 weeks and zip, it's a great party and we go. Well, that didn't work out. It was like, okay, it's going to be here. And that was about 6 weeks ago. Oh my God. Every weed, every little garden bed, everything's got to be perfect. and so we went for it. And it was like, you know what? Because Diana supported making this book happen. I mean, like paying the printers and all those things that required some moolah. It all happened because of Mom, Diana. And she, yeah. And she deserves to have her place being sparkling when it was all done and the book is launched. So the place is sparkling, and thank you, Mom, and congratulations, Diana Dahl, for your first published book as well.
The three of us have created a publishing company called Xantar Publishing. Xantar happens to be Tarzan inverted, which is one of Jim's many fun little nomenclatures. And I'm going to start the reading process. And, you know, since you're all gathered here, I don't know whether we all want to just stay for the whole process or whether we want to have 2 or 3 readings and then take a break, and then we'll get on the microphone and we'll call you back and say there's a couple more readings. I think that might be fun. We still have some light in the sky. And also Todd Swan. There's a lot of people to thank here. Oh my goodness. Todd Swan has been our in-house videographer for years and years, and he's compiled archival shots of the Maui family going back to gosh knows how long ago. And he has... And so he has created about a 50-minute loop that is in the living room.
Did we get that together?
It'll play.
The chord is
We were missing one little chord.
but it was. Did you guys go get it or no?
I think so.
Okay.
Anyway, at one point we'll let you know when it's going to be playing with the audio. One last thing before we start the readings. Megan created a series of CDs that has compiled all the Maui family music. So you might be surprised when your song comes up. How about that? Yeah. So, and there's also a button to push if it's just not quite happening. So,
Like if it's my vocal warm-up tape.
oops, oops. So I'm going to start with a poem that Jim wrote. It's Once. And this is from the first of the 3 sections of the book before we moved to Maui, before Jim moved to Maui. And this was written about when he was in high school. So I love this poem.
Do you want to sit down and this can just relax? Yeah. Demonstrate how it's done.
Except that there's, I gotta be quick because the sun's gonna get in my eyes.
Sorry, folks.
Position yourself like you want to read, then put the mic to
Is it the sun? The icon.
Okay, I have to turn this switch on. Here, guys, ready?
Oh, I have it here. I have it here.
No, I turned the switch
Oh,
on.
you did? Oh,
Okay.
okay.
The icon that is associated with this particular poem is a lighthouse. And the poem is called Once. Career preference tests in high school showed my clear interest in being a lighthouse keeper. I was tall like a lighthouse, tall. I had lenses at the top like a lighthouse. My mind felt like a penetrating beacon. Lighthouses stood where the shore meets the sea, my usual habitat. You were a guard for others, lonely civic duty. A lifeguard in a lonely lighthouse, lots of time to read. Storms were what had put you there, and fog, shining through the fog, shining out to sea in a black and roaring storm, lighting the way for others to miss the hidden rocks, to find shelter in the hidden lee. Being an unknown keeper of the light, saving lives with light when they feel most close to lost and lightless black. A tall lighthouse anchored on lonely, rugged land-sea edge, or a sturdy lighthouse ship far from land, caught in the same black maelstrom and shining, facing the towering seas. I was a natural, never wanted to be any other, would rather help than gather wealth, once I grasped that life was once.
Gonna read?
Okay. Our next reader is Frank Kane. And
It's from the last section of the book.
this is from the last section of the book. The book is organized pre-Maui, then there's poems and photographs, and then once we arrived on Maui in 1970. So stories from those different eras. So here we go. This is, do that. So starting with a little quote at the beginning of the chapter.
There's math in this.
Pre-Maui.
There's geometric math in this, so hang on to that.
There's marijuana in the air, too.
Man's most human characteristic is not his ability to learn, which he shares with many other species, but his ability to teach and store what others have developed and taught him. Margaret Mead. And then there's a graphic here of a cone. There's a graphic here of a cone with its base as a circle and ellipse, hyperbola, and parabola. Are you there?
Clearer and slower, please.
Okay.
Are you all sitting comfy bowl 2 square on your body? Then I'll begin. More than I needed to know, I learned in the sandbox. Nothing was more fun in the sandbox than pouring out a bucket of sand slowly to form a cone, and then watching it have an avalanche. I could get it to a point where a little sugar sprinkled on it would bring ants, and the ants would create a landslide. It made a pleasing shape like an ice cream cone upside down, and the more sand you poured, the bigger it got. And kids like big cones, especially chocolate. Funny thing about it, big or small, they all had the same shape and organized themselves to that shape before the avalanche began. They hovered in this very special way, large or small, just before it slid down. A pile of coarser sand, or even rice or peas or beans, would do the same thing. So whatever was going on, it wasn't about the sand. But Mom's 3-minute egg timer, with the sand pouring through the little hole to the bottom, and Dad timing it with his watch, and having me write the times down and look at the slight variation in the times at dinner after dessert, might have made a whole study a kind of a dessert for me. And sand came in 2 flavors. Old shells and old rocks. I'd still take a sand pile that was a double helping of old shells, given the choice. The sand cones were quick to get a couple of inches high, but it took a long time to get an additional inch in height once the thing started getting big. But each time, as it got bigger, it would reach a point where it sort of hovered at being balanced, and then the slightest change could start an avalanche. Sometimes just sitting there doing nothing, it would avalanche on the inside and cave in a little all over. You could see it settle. Lots of little ones and a few big ones, it seemed. An outside avalanche, and the cone would start all over again with a little bigger base. You know, where you put the ice cream in. My dad, Joe, pointed out how the upside-down cone might be right side up for folks at the antipodes, or antipodes. Those were the guys living directly opposite you on the earth if you bored right straight down. Mom said avalanches happened in snow, too. Skiers had to watch out. They were the additional grain of sand on the pile that got the snow sliding, and they usually got buried and died. I like to hear my French friends say, avalanche. You heard the lanche, which I liked, ships and rockets and all. And you heard the word lunch too, which I also liked a lot. Something else. Saying avalanche sounded a lot like an avalanche. You say the ah ah, hardly anything, and then va, oops, getting bigger. The A rolled over to the other side, and the launch, the way your tongue came off the roof of your mouth to go from L to get the third ah, sounded like things sliding, and the way your mouth finished up with it, ch, it was all over. Also, like a wave breaking, A, the white cap, va, the curl, and launch, the impact zone. And you didn't want to get launched onto there, or you got lunched. Dad said avalanches happened underwater too, from earthquakes. Again, just a little change would do it, and folks living on the seacoast could find themselves for a few last moments looking at an avalanche of water coming their way fast. He said the same thing probably even happened on stars too. Starquakes, he called them. Then he drew a picture of the sand cone on the flat sand and drew 4 different ways of slicing through the cone with their different curving shapes. A circle, a parabola, an ellipse, and a hyperbola. The circle made the wheel. It made our growing civilization possible. The parabola described the curves of all things thrown on Earth, baseballs, bullets, cannon shells. The ellipse told how the Earth and all the planets moved around the sun. And the hyperbola described the comets' paths. The Earth's main laws, and shaped in a cone of sand. Wow. So together we were discovering some basic rules of nature, first from the sandbox and then from the mailbox. Each month, beginning in 1939, we would look forward to Scientific America showing up. And each month we'd read that distinguished journal together. Waves and sand and snow and water and earthquakes and starquakes were all somehow following the same rules. The nature of nature, Dad called it. I vowed to find out what those rules are. That big effects could come from small causes was the weird part. Most stuff took a lot of effort to get big things going, but not all. Why was that? What was the difference? I promised Dad I'd keep asking these questions. Years later, when I became Dad in the sandbox, I found myself asking those questions of my kids, and later with my grandkids. And when my son, Gannon, asked what the song meant, saying, "We are stardust, we are golden," we picked up our copy of Scientific American and read about those big exploding stars called supernovas. Only they could make all the stuff that we are made of. Hadn't Dad said I was made from stars? Well, Gannon said, since super means big and nova means new, we must all be big light news. He was our golden boy. I learned more about what Dad had been getting at, something that came to be called exquisite balance place, where the thing becomes one whole and has its own rules from within, where everything is connected to everything else, the place where life evolves. Not too hot, not too cold, just right for life. Dad was good with sand castles too, but he aimed to be at some mystery of nature that was being revealed in sand piles. And that had to do with us thinking about sand piles. Some kind of strange reflection going on, he said, because he could feel that ideas were avalanches too. Find that mirror call was my goal for Dad. Here's the list of stuff I learned in the sandbox with Dad, and then as Dad and Gramps. 1. Different things follow the same rules, so nature has a knowable nature. 2. Size doesn't always count, but shape usually does. Settle down. 3. Some things organize themselves into critical situations where a little cause, the tipping point, set off large effects. 4. Our elements come from stars, and they organize themselves into life on Earth. 5. We are that life, looking for clues to what to do next. 6. Nature's nature organizes us to know nature's nature. I'm going to say that again. 6. Nature's nature organizes us to know nature's nature. Thank you. 7. Something self-reflective is going on in our galactic neighborhood. Homo sapiens sapiens, us thinking about thinking. 8. It is great to take on the task to find out what's up.
Beautiful sunset. Thank you, everyone. I'm glad you're enjoying the evening. Those of you who'd like to hear more from the book are welcome to gather around. And who's reading? We have a very a fun story. Oh, what was it? Did you want to read something? Oh, okay. Yes, okay, perfect. Jaiya has volunteered, and then Diana has a reading, and I have a reading. Oh, and La Sensua has a reading. So La Sensua will close the show with the last story from the book. So hang in there, honey. I could do indulgence right now. Since it has to do with Here. No, let me do indulgence right now. As soon as we go straight to it. Okay. Okay. We had this planned out, but then it all changed, and so now we're winging it.
Story of life.
Yes. Alrighty. Since I just finished my meal. No, I'm doing indulgence. Indulgence. Hold on a moment. I will go to the table of contents, and I'm looking for, yes, indulgence. Page 166. This is so fun. We sat around the kitchen table, and Jim would show up with a story, and we'd all read it. We had 3 copies, and then we'd go back through it, and we'd go, oh, this sentence, this little section didn't work. We need to make it a little clearer, and then we'd all kind of work on an edit. It was excruciating for my dad, and thank you, Dad, for hanging in there in the editing process. Usually authors aren't involved in the editing process, but for good reason. But we felt like we wanted to be true to his word and to his intention. And there were times when it was like, well, what do you mean here? And so if we're going to edit this, we've got to get your meaning and make sure that, and it may have only been a 1 or 2 word change, but we had to stick with the meaning and the intention. And so Diana and I just really, really, in honor of Jim, just really pushed to keep the intention and the meaning of the stories there, and the spirit, and just to make them more accessible for everyone. It's like, wait a minute, Dad, you have to have had like 10 years of background in order to get this. How can we make it so that everybody gets it? So anyway, here goes. But this is a fun one. Indulgence. most of our stories start with a quote from someone else on the opposite page, and the quote here is, "Life expectancy would grow by leaps and bounds if green vegetables smelled as good as bacon."
Who's that by?
And that's Doug Larson. And my dad thinks that arugula smells like bacon, so that's the only thing he likes to plant in the garden. I swear, I'm serious. Indulgeness. Listen up, your indulgency. Indigenosity revisited. Cultural anthropologists have recently zeroed in on transcultural attributes that define humanity. Now, this transcultural is a rather large and important word. No more hanging up on some ethnic, racial, religious, or political difference. Transcultural commonalities above culture. Perhaps even transhuman cultural. Excuse me, I'm gonna get this. There, I can relax my shoulders now. One scratches one's head to imagine such a property. If just one person wouldn't do it, it's not transcultural. We think of the big mambas and the small mambas distinguished by wearing different length penis sheaths. With the Pope? Nope. At least not in public. Penis sheaths fail the transcultural test. We think of Spanish bullfights and Creole Mardi Gras, Brazil's Carnival, and solemn religious observances. But nope, my friend, the cultural anthropologist says, transcultural is way beyond these specific observances. Okay, I give, I said, thinking, what beyond eating, sleeping, reproducing, and eliminating would remain? Singing? No. His grave head shakes. Dancing, I suggest. No. Drumming. Painting. No. No. I'm growing tired of the game. Now I have to know. What? I ask with a tone in my voice suggesting that it better be good, or else. It's an addiction, he says. Moreover, a willingness to addict. Flashback. A list of drugs swims through my mind. Maybe still even in my head. I am grudgingly relinquishing my drug stream to that old do-gooder, blood. LSD, ketamine, peyote, marijuana, ayahuasca, mescaline. None of these seem common to all cultures, yet all seem common to mine. McDonald's cheeseburgers, I suggest, having heard that they are enjoying a rather rapid cultural dissemination. Closer, he suggests. Burger King Whoppers, I offer salivatingly, flame broiled and all, hearing rainforests crashing to the ground. More basic, he hints. Salty fibers? Bingo, he says. 1/2 out of 3. Now I'm moving, but I've got to jettison half, either the salt or the fibers. Fibers flunked? I query. Flunked, he says. So he's saying there is a transcultural willingness to addict to salt. Mangoes, I slurp, remembering having heard Buddha died of such an overdose. Nah, he explains. Mangoes aren't transcultural. They're paradisical. I suggest, getting even. He nods. 2 to go. I'm thinking, sugar? I smile sweetly. Sugar? And fat, he adds. Sugar, salt, and fat. Sugar, salt, and fat. Wait, I say. Well, where would Eskimos get sugar? From the store, he says. a willingness to addict, or an inability not to addict. I must confess, I had higher hopes than this for human transculturality, thinking perhaps of some universal search for religious fundamentals, peace of mind, peace of peoples, or at least what Bill got caught doing. But as I chewed over these mindless, chomping transculturalities, some other major earthquake of an understanding lurched into my awareness. It was a big game idea for sure. I could feel it. So I straightened my back, aligned my feet, breathed deeply, and invited it in. I scanned my mental horizon slowly and quietly, not wanting to frighten off the query. A hot pink color swam by. Letters on it. I threw the fly out far into memory lane, line looping, to a swirl by a shady branch next to a small waterfall in a rushing river. Bright pink took it. And after a brief tussle, I netted it and turned the letter side over. Pink letters screamed, "Indulgence!" Vertically exploding from a pile of pecans, encircling a pecan-studded captured cookie on an elegant, vertical, gleaming black Safeway cookie bag. I remember having stomached all the cookies being labeled very buttered pecan in white and with a whole line for very and saying select and premium quality and Safeway in gold. And I had found myself unable to discard the bag. I'd folded it and slipped it between two of my favorite books. The bag had made my most treasured possessions category in less than one bite. How had I happened on it? My best buddy, Iane, had thrust the swollen bag through the door of my lonely writing room one dark, rainy night and blown my mind with the contents and the beauty of the bag. We had marveled at the taste and the Madison Avenue marketing genius, slyly decoding its seductive effectiveness. Pure sexuality. But that's another story. Back to my thick-maned transculturalist scholar. Indulgence, I offered explodingly. That's what's transcultural. Fat, salt, and sugar. Just create an opportunity for indulgence. The great shaggy-haired cultural anthropologist uttered meaningfully. And then my mind made the leap across the great chasm. Indulgenous people. Weren't we all transculturally indulgenous people, given the chance? That old indigenous people label that had been creating havoc with the modern mind, hadn't we all once been indigenous people living off the land? Weren't people just people? Would you give indigenous people an A+ for ecological behavior, for not having destroyed the earth? You could only do so much damage with a sealskin canoe and a sharp stick. Given the chance, some of those indigenous people are now going after whales with speedboats and machine guns. Were we now to bow to their wisdom for not having then radioactively contaminated the rolling blue sea? Humans collectively indulge and overindulge whenever they can. This reverence for the unique wisdom and nobility of indigenous people took its place in my mind, with all the other misunderstandings irrelevant to an accurate assessment of our world's critical condition. Bake sales for battleships? Maybe. But Safeway may have the successful marketing tool for world peace. Overindulgence in cookies and sex. Then war is a no-show. At last, indigenous defined. The people who were waiting for indulgenous opportunities but hadn't had their chance. Yet. I hope they get it. Those cookies are terrific. In a sort of fatty, sugary way, they're worth their salt. I checked the bag's serving size. 2 were suggested. Fat chance. There were 22. That's 11 servings. The master number, 11. I had proven my mastery and necked down the whole bag. Kablamo. And Iane his. And we were glad. It doesn't work to indulge and not be glad. I checked the flattened, gleaming bag's ingredients claimed for fiber and vitamins A and C. 0. If they had any redeeming qualities, it wouldn't be indulgence. So, until we can become indulgenous, we'll just have to remain indigenous. Heaven forbigenous.
Oh boy. Okay, we're going to end with a couple of wonderful readings from a couple of wonderful women that I think we can all agree are icons in our community. One is Jaia, who has volunteered to read a story that Marianne Scott was going to read today, but she couldn't come because of a sore throat. So, I know, anything but a sore throat. So, P.S. My Downfall is based in Kihei, and Marianne lives in Kihei, so that was something that resonated with her. And we're going to finish, I just want to say, with a wonderful story and a wonderful presentation by the Sensois, who is one of the exquisite people here on Maui, and we all just love her so much. And it's the last story in the book, and she, of all people, has a connection with the sentiments in the piece. So, okay, without further words.
Sorry. I have to get with you. Yeah.
You're doing great,
You know,
It has occurred to me that we had a storm of applause for both Megan and for you, Diana, and you both deserve them. But I haven't yet heard a complete storm of applause for the author of this book. How about we all give a real applause?
Thank you, Jim.
I remember Jimbo coming through to the studio many years ago with his book. At that point, no one was helping him edit it. It was this thick. And he left me with a copy, and it was actually impossible to either lift it off your lap or stand with it. It was so huge. And I thought, we kept saying, couldn't you maybe break this down into a few books, one at a time? So he did it. Congratulations. So here we are. P.S. My Downfall. I've never read this before. Admit that your own private Mount Everest exists. That is half the battle. Hugh MacLeod. And there is a stunning picture of Jimbo. Oh my God. Oh my God. 2 mini marathon. Huh? Closer to the mouth, maybe? Okay, more volume. Yeah, how are we doing? 2 mini marathons. An Ironman training, an inter-island windsurfer race, 4 days straight of deep diving for hours with wild dolphins, a quick 2-day row across the world's roughest channel, 80 miles to my remote Molokai sea cliff property. So I felt easily capable of withstanding a gruel power shopping, P.S., expedition with my sweetheart, Sunshine. We rose early on that fateful day. I watched the sun rise over the crater, penetrating, no clouds. I ate, did a brief 3-hour workout, stretch, weights, kung fu, and taekwondo, showered, shaved, slipped into my workout shoes, and sauntered down the center of the small side street, arms swinging, hand in hand with my sweetheart, Sunshine. The Rainbow Attic, a shopper's paradise, was but a few minutes' walk. I watched the easy stride of my sweetheart, matched it, and we effortlessly glided together toward our destination. We had planned this raid for a long time. Some money had come in, and a fresh consignment of clothes was set to jam the shelves. Clothes, long sought or unimagined, could manifest at any moment on those hallowed hangers. Don't we all know it? A week earlier, I had bought a gold lame coat for $8 that Elvis would have loved. It hangs on the wall. I'll never wear it. Sunshine likes fabrics, and that gold coat was pure sunshine. Sold. The Rainbow Attic is a consignment store. These were rich people's rejects. A diamond might tumble out of some old pocket. What must have been a DKNY $1,000 sequined silver bathing suit cost $8, like nearly everything. I found a bomber bud roach in a silk purse within a lipstick case under a pile of toothpicks. Made sense. Mouth things. But the smell gave it away. The purse was good luck, so I bought it. It's on the wall with the gold lame coat. Better it than a stuffed, glass-eyed head of some luckless lion, but still with some of the excitement of the chase. Nailed on the wall with a pushpin, not on the savannah with a 30-06. Purse died with a roach, not a roar. Purse rebirth, place for the bucks and grass, hidden among complicit toothpicks. Who would guess? Fits right in on the wall at Sunshine's Aloha Lani Tantric Goddess Temple, with 30 other glittering costumes on the violet walls. Aloha Lani, the temple of the heavenly love. That gold coat would look great on a lion if you had one. But upwardly mobile yuppie lions bounding gold-coated up the down escalator are the last thing we want. But the roach was great. These past hunting-gathering successes at the Attic, as well as some knockout deals at the Salvi, had built in me the momentum of a winner, a sort of shared camaraderie with other champions. Duke Kanahamoku comes to mind. The competitors are bunched up way behind. It gives that special meaning to the word champ. Way ahead. Power shopping would be just the latest of a long series of my recent triumphs. I felt our matched pace quicken as my sweetheart, Sunshine, and I blew by the Attic Sideworks sale 50% off rack. Losers. We slipped through the door, and I headed deep into the women's slacks section. Let the cowboys fight over Levi's. Women's slacks, extra large, size 14, silk. Miracles happen here. And one did immediately. Blue velvet tights. Some private dancer's special thing, one of a kind. I felt the clarion call to liberate these tights. They would be my signature human dolphin photographer choreographer's underwear. Choreographer's underwater tights. and shiny with silver threads or something, sparkling blue. Dolphins would be green with envy. I took them into the changing room curtain section. Plop. Sunshine dropped 6 other things over the stall for me to try. I was already behind by 6 try-ons and I just got there. 7, Sunshine is power shopping. I'm way behind. But when the going gets tough, you know the rest. And now it's time to show my stuff. I'll just slip on these tights to assure the perfect fit. They're mine, made for me, my own choice, not just Sunshine's. I'll open with a huge success. First domino of 7 falling, my choice. Undisputed champ in the gals' realms too. Ha! I step out of my dropped pants and thrust my leg into the glittering blue tights. But it stops almost immediately. Odd. I stumble and hop around on one foot, trying to get the dancer's stirrup thing over my foot. Stuck. I crash into the flimsy wall. Muffled cry of alarm from the next stall as the wall buckles. This is sacred space, and they have honored the silence. Only the cash register's bell interrupts the reverence of serious shoppers. I fall out the curtain door naked onto a huge rack of lace panties. Victoria's Secret? Panties have no fear of flying, half do. The whole unit teeters, but I grab it as the other half launches. I leap back into my stall and regard my glittering lower left leg far below. Then hop on one foot and pull. Plop again. Another stack of things from Sunshine joins the growing pile. I'm way behind. A moment of panic. Sweat explodes from every pore. I breathe deeply. Calm my nerves. Sitting on the low bench will eliminate the tricky balance problem with these tights stuck to my left foot. I sit down, breathe, brace one arm on my knee, and try to reach way out to my distant foot and try to get the damn stirrup foot thing over my foot and up my leg, but it won't move. These aren't floppy bell-bottom pants. I pull harder, won't move, stuck. So I reach out with both hands, thereby giving up my cantilevered back support and give a mighty yank with both hands, quick and hard, to surprise this maniacal eel with a death grip on my foot. The tights don't budge, but some connection of muscles to somewhere in my lower back does. Rise to my feet in growing pain and deepening shock. Try to get my left foot with the long blue eel attached to go down the leg of my pants. Eel won't go. I wrap my pants around my waist and stagger to a nearby low-back rocking chair, dragging the glittering blue eel, teeth clenched. The chair is for sale. I'll pretend I'm considering a purchase and lean back. I pull my knees up like a fetus to grab and dislodge the fierce eel, but the chair and I tip all the way over backward on my head. Crunch. Neck sounds. I'm wedged upside down against the wall in the men's pants section. Total humiliation. The blue tights have a death grip on my foot. I squirm. The waist and size tag fall into my face. Flap. I focus on the tag. I have been sabotaged. They're not size 14. They're size 6. Me and my dolphin diving dreams are blinkered back to reality. Totally inappropriate. Wrong fabric. Wrong size. Not even that stretchy. A child's ballet costume. Someone put it back in the wrong section. I've done that before. Careless, karma, payback, maybe. But I'm trapped, inverted, so I whimper for help. Sunshine comes to my rescue with her helping hands. They tip me over sideways. Some sleek girls I'd seen are snickering, helping the owner get Victoria's sweet secrets re-racked. The chair turns over sideways on me. Crunch, something else in my neck. Someone pulls it off, de-eels me, and I pull on my pants, excruciatingly. I have ruined my back for 2 months. 2 months if you don't move, 6 if you do, said the doc last time. It has happened before. I shuffle, hunched and groaning, outside to a welcome milk box seat by the 50% off rack losers. The ones I blew by less than 3 minutes earlier. Feeling 100% off myself and lost. Under 3 minutes, first round knockout. P.S. my downfall. Can't even get to the parking lot. A friend backs her car over the sidewalk curb to me, helps fold me in, drives us home. I'm in excruciating pain, couldn't have walked. What an immediate life changer. Power shopping? Girls only. They don't stoop so low as a mere inadequate Ironman preparation. Mums are unbeatable, but I'll get the woolly one mammoth when I'm up and around again.
You made that noise before.
Just really quickly, this last offering is a poem, and it's the title of the book, Life in the Trees. The sense was a perfect person to read, and appreciate her essence and being in this whole experience. Thank you so much. This is a serious one.
Yes, it's not funny.
This is where it's at.
Hello?
Just adjust it. It needs to be close to your mouth, but I know it's hard to see the page when it's. So we can bring it down and turn it. Does that work?
That works.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. I feel really blessed to read this tonight. I was one of the near original members of
Sorry. That should be good now?
Hello?
Yeah, there we go.
Of Taylor Camp back in the early 70s on Kauai, if you know anything about that. We all lived in tree houses. And it was some of the best times of my life. And this is a story about Jim's boathouse in the trees in Walo, a very big part of his life. So I feel honored to read it. I relate to it. Walt Whitman. Now I see the secret of making of the best persons. It is to grow in the open air and eat and sleep with the earth. Ours is the thrill of doing, becoming our being. We live in our gardens. Wake to bird songs in the rustling trees, morning jacuzzi and chiseled rock pools in clear, rapid stream. 30-foot cliff dive, wake up, begins miles swim in deep, wide pool. Meditate in massive cave, pool shimmers in morning sun, throwing waves of rippling light onto the high cave dome. Gushing spring and crevice of cliff keeps pool full, clear. Sit on gravel beach and skip stones across pool to where roots of banyan tree cling to towering cliff face. Skip, 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 click splash. Climb up rooted path hand over hand out to steep ledge. Toes grip rock, spine upward, soaking in the warmth of the sun. Breathe deep from the center of the earth. Chest high, dive again outward into sky. Enter clear pool, clean, underwater flip, emerge in butterfly stroke. Long languid rope swing beckons for one last leap. Grab on and swing, 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 flip splash. Swim to easy exit at underwater stone steps. Hike up steep path through colorful, fragrant jungle. Pause to gaze deep into hanging orchids. Push aside vines to see sweetheart coming to greet. Feed each other morning nasturtiums covered in rainbow dew. Together, gather abundant fruits, always enough to share. Banana, lilikoi, coconut, guava, pungent Suriname cherry. Bring to friends this gathered feast of ripe fruit, and laughter rife with ease. Sing our prayers of thanks for plants and another beautiful day.
Weed 21-bed garden to start new compost pile. Harvest lettuce, carrots, beets, and herbs for splendid noontime salad. Rake leaves onto outdoor kitchen floor, ready for guests. Workday done by 9. Open coconut after drinking its milk from papaya stem straw. Pop out white spoon meat with shell edge into mouth. Slip into hammock and rock with cocoa in the breeze. Enjoy long view of 4 waves peeling off the point. Lovebirds sing and cling to bamboo treehouse branch, bearing red ginger and pink butterfly to my red-flowered, grass-skirted, bare-breasted beauty, greeted with kisses and fondest hellos. It is your time, dear reader, to share sky blue pillows and pink sheets. Curl up with your cat in your bamboo grass shack, with your blessed sweetheart treehouse love, and let the blue stars fall. What a life! What a life!
That's good. And looking forward to getting it.
I've always been challenged by the audiovisual. I think we need
Wonderful.
a champagne toast about now. Don't we?
Alrighty. Well, thank you everyone for staying to hear the readings. And it is sunset, and we said sun until sunset, but we want to share a champagne toast. And some of you may have had a chance to see the video inside of Jimbo, but we just want to say that we'll play it again. And so, with the volume. So those of you who want to stay a little longer and watch incredible Todd Swan video of Jim over the years, and a lot of amazing, beautiful people in this community, please feel free to stay. And thank you so much for coming to support this grand opening and launching of Life in the Trees. This is your opportunity to buy a book and not pay shipping. And there will be one more opportunity in Paia on Friday, September 7th, where you can get a book there, and he'll be signing in Paia at Puka Puka.
Where's that?
43 Hana Highway.
Where the old Maui craft field used to be.
It's the first business when you come into Paia from Kahului. And so anyway, enjoy, and thank you so much for coming to make this such a beautiful event.
Thank you, Megan.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you, Jimbo.
Yeah. Right, we did it. Woo, we did it.
You did it. You did it great.
Right. Yeah, so let's